Okay, divas, it's time for book club. I am so sorry. Fandoms are the biggest curse on this planet. And don't even try to pull the whole, oh, well, my fandom's not that bad card, because let's face it, honey. Yours is probably among the worst. I'm not sorry. Let's face it, all fandoms have these issues. Whether it be racism, transphobia, homophobia, you name it, probably in it. It's nearly impossible to find a fandom that has none of these involved in it. However, it's so much easier to find a fandom that has every single thing imaginable. That one's a big issue, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about Yellowjackets. Oh god.
Disclaimer. Anything I say in this video regarding cast members, characters, ships, Twitter drama, fans of ships, characters or actors, etc. is purely based on observation. Please do not take any of this to heart. All Twitter drama mentioned will remain anonymous, but if there's anything in this video that you were involved with that you would like to be removed from the video, let me know, and I will do my best to try and remove it. All of the information I've gathered for this video is directly from sources such as Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. If any content in this video contains misinformation, please let me know in the comments. I'm still somewhat new to this community, and I was not around for everything included here, so I may not know everything. With all that being said, please enjoy this video.
So, I've been in fandom spaces since middle school. I've managed to survive Marvel, The Vampire Diaries, Riverdale, Stranger Things, basically every single mainstream fandom in existence, and never in my 17 years of life have I seen a fandom as insane as Yellowjackets. And that's saying a lot, because we know how Legacy's turned out. I'm not trying to shade. I am just saying that fandom alone had a lot of issues. However, Yellowjackets has surpassed it, so let's just hop right into the video and look at this breakdown. Alright, let's start off with the most obvious point. These bitches are bored. That's the best way I can put it. Sorry, it's true. They go a year without a new season, and suddenly they're like the gang from that one Animal DreamWorks movie. You know what I'm talking about. You probably don't. No one watched that movie. Now you might be wondering, what things are getting people so aggressive about this show? Literally nothing important. Ever. And today I'm gonna break it all down for you! So we're gonna start with the biggest issue, men. Yeah, sure, more often than not, men are the main issue in fandoms, but this is a little excessive. So we're gonna talk about the hatred that this fandom has for Travis Martinez. So I feel like disliking Travis is honestly a very fair take. I mean, he is a misogynistic douchebag, and this persona does stick throughout both seasons, but by season 2 he starts to slowly unlearn that behavior. But in the Yellowjackets fandom, nobody likes to actually acknowledge that. He pissed them off once, and now they refuse to see him as anything other than a terrible person. Which honestly checks out. However, you need to realize that he was literally just a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s in a sports-based environment with a shitty father who then died on a plane. Obviously, he was gonna be a little fucked. Can we just acknowledge that for a second? Because I feel like we're drastically missing that section. But see, people are also mad about his existence because they see him as a threat to Lottie Nat. You know, the shit between Lottie and Natalie that people made up that's probably never becoming canon and has never been hinted at potentially becoming canon. Yeah, that Lottie Nat. Sorry, Lottie Nat fans, don't come for me. I like them too. I'm just being real here. And trust me, I'm just as delusional as the next lesbian on Twitter.com, but even I can realize when headcanon and canon might just have to coexist. I support the Lottie Nat movement. Honestly, I respect it. I love it. I appreciate it. But I can also respect TravNat, and I think we need to start looking at them a little bit more. Because the Lottie Nat stuff's getting a little much. But I'm gonna be so honest, I have fully lost faith in this fandom Because what do you mean we've resorted to body shaming? Yeah, you heard me correctly. We're body shaming cast members now? Pretty much every time I opened Twitter for a solid month, all I ever saw was just constant posts dissing Travis's appearance. Do they realize that Travis is a character that is being played by an actor? A real person? And I'm gonna be so for real. I may be a lesbian, but I can proudly say Kevin Alves is fine as hell. So body shaming is not only unnecessary, but it's fully irrelevant to this man. So why are we doing it? Not to mention, tell me why most of the people that are body shaming this man are people that are fans of Lottie and Courtney Eaton. Courtney Eaton that was in Parachute. How can you body shame someone when your fave was literally in a movie about eating disorders? Riddle me that, bitch. Now, with all this being said, I think the main reason for all of this is the struggle to separate the character from the actor. Which leads me to my next point. Run it up, chat. Sexuality projection. We all love to do it. So when I think of sexuality projection, my main two thoughts are Sophie Nélisse and Ella Purnell. Jackie Shauna's run this shit like the Navy. And we're going to touch on that fandom a little bit more separately later on because they're a problem. They're a problem. So Jackie Shauna's are very, very firm believers that Jackie and Shauna are both lesbians or bisexual or whatever you want to say. I don't know. But it's gotten to the point where they push for it so hard to the point where they can't do one simple thing. Say it with me, everyone. They can't separate the character from the damn actor. I'm tired. So basically it all starts with Jackie Shauna in the show. But then obviously Sophie and Ella would post content together, you know, as friends and coworkers do. And Jackie Shauna's took that and made silly little jokes like, oh, it's Jackie Shauna. And then it turned into a decent amount of people starting to just ship Sophie and Ella. Which then made it weird. Which then made it uncomfortable. Which is why we don't see them post anything together anymore. Like, ever. So thanks for that. Now, unfortunately, this does happen in pretty much every single fandom on the planet. And it's really unsettling to watch. Especially when they start, like, really digging into people's personal lives. For example, a few months back, Ella Purnell had posted on her Instagram story right after she moved to LA, I think it was. And it was just a stack of books. And the fandom immediately chose to just start analyzing it for whatever reason. And within the stack of books was a book about polyamory. So, naturally, the fandom blows the Twitter timeline the fuck up. It's all I was seeing for weeks on end. People were speculating. People were posting screenshots. People were looking at literal pictures of the book to try and analyze it. I don't know what was going on there, but it was a little bit insane. And I'm not going to go much further on this because the fandom has kind of started to forget about it. And for the sake of Ella's privacy, I don't want to reawaken that, especially because there's other sexuality projection stuff happening. And I don't want to fuel that fire. But that happened. It was weird. And we need to be fucking normal. Ella Purnell fans, I am looking at you. Along with the speculation, we have the topic of the Yellowjackets cast boyfriends. Quite a few of the Yellowjackets cast members do have boyfriends, and not a single one has actually been respected by the community. Sophie Nélisse posts literally any picture of her boyfriend, and he's immediately thrown every ounce of shade in the fucking book. I'm talking insults, body shaming, literal slurs. Literally, one of my old followers literally called him a slur, and I had to take a minute. And that was just really weird to me, and I think maybe we should not do that anymore. Because I've seen this happen a few times. A similar situation did happen with Courtney Eden and her boyfriend, which is part of the reason why, to my knowledge, from what fandom veterans have told me, Courtney Eden might have left Twitter. I don't know how true that is, but it wouldn't shock me. Thankfully, no shade to my knowledge has been thrown at Sophie Thatcher's boyfriend, but I think that's because she keeps the relationship private to a degree. And I kind of fear for what would happen if that wasn't the case, because this fandom and their parasocial behavior is absolutely fucking insane. The weird investment their fans have in their lives is one thing, but it's a completely other thing when people are literally lying about knowing certain cast members just for clout. I'm not naming names. If you know, you know. I don't have to say anything. I wasn't even there when it happened, but that was like the first thing I learned on my first day. Yellowjackets 101. Speaking of fan investments, can we take a moment to talk about the actor biases in this fandom? Because holy shit, that's a whole issue in itself. If you go on to Yellowjackets Twitter, you will be greeted by the same 3 people as everyone's profile pictures. It'll either be Sophie Nélisse, Sophie Thatcher, or Ella Purnell. Sometimes Courtney Eden, but mainly those 3, and literally anyone else just gets swept aside and treated like shit. I'm not gonna say there's a theme there, but you see a theme. When it comes to these actors getting treated like shit, I mean, this fandom loves to pick and choose what controversy is considered redeemable and what controversy is bad enough to make this person absolutely horrific and unforgivable. Jasmine Savoy Brown is a prime example of this. Back in 2023, she had made a post on Instagram basically asking what the definition of lesbian was nowadays, since the kids seem to have changed it so much. The kids, oh god. So basically, to sum it all up, she brought up pansexual lesbians and started going on about that, and she didn't understand why pansexual lesbians were bad, and people started attacking her, sending her death threats, shit like that. It was insane. And following the responses she received, she posted multiple stories addressing it. She explained what she meant, she corrected herself, she listened to everyone, she learned from it, but people still treated her like shit, and this happened 2 years ago? But then you look at some of the other actors and you see a huge lack in cancellation and accountability attempts from the fans when it comes to them. Like, Juliette Lewis is a Zionist, and I see almost no one ever talking about that. Warren Cole misgendered Liv Hewson, but people brush that off because Jess Sadecki is a silly little baby girl that can do no wrong. That hurt my fucking soul to say. Sammy Hanratty posted an insensitive video mocking Amber Heard during the Johnny and Amber trial, but most people, to my knowledge, ignore that any of that happened. Someone can fact check me if that's not true, but from what I've seen, no accountability whatsoever. Some people do acknowledge it, like I have seen a few people, but these people also have to calm the hell down, because I saw a comment section the other day regarding this, and everyone was just saying things like, I hope her baby comes out ugly, and other crazy shit about her family, and that's honestly really terrible, and I think we need to get our shit together. Because that's just not the move. Leave the baby out of this. I also wanted to bring up the Zionism again with Sophie Thatcher and Jasmine Savoy Brown, because it's so interesting to me that when all of those celebrities started reposting that Zionist propaganda all over Insta, both Sophie and Jasmine had posted it because they weren't educated on it, like most people weren't. And people called them out, and they both changed their views, and everyone immediately just forgot Sophie ever said anything. But they didn't let it go for Jasmine for weeks. And I also noticed that those two were like the only 2 people that had said literally anything at all about Palestine. And all the other cast members stayed purely silent, and I don't see anyone giving any smoke to them. Absolutely nothing. Jasmine just casually got everything. Basically, from what I'm seeing, this fandom seems to just be worshipping the same 3 white women and Courtney Eden, but literally anyone else, they treat them like shit, and they will hold them accountable for literally everything forever and let everything else slide. This entire concept kind of pairs well with our next concept. Run it up. Alright, character biases. So, along with everyone's favorite actors being Ella, Sophie Thatcher, Sophie Nélisse, and Courtney Eaton, this fandom's favorite characters tend to follow the same pattern. You'll see Jackie, you'll see Nat, Shauna, Lottie. Those are all the fan favorites of the show. We're going to call them the core four for the remainder of this section, and then other characters like Ty, Misty, Mari, Akila, Van, those guys get pushed aside immediately, and coming across fans of those characters is pretty much as rare as finding water in the Sahara Desert. I'm looking directly at Mari fans. I'm one of them, and probably one of the last surviving ones. Hello, nice to meet you. She's not Pit Girl. Okay, anyway! So fans love the core four. We've established this. But they also tend to infantilize them in a way, excusing all their terrible behavior and defending it with, but she's just a girl, or she's a baby that can never do anything wrong in her life. That sentence makes me want to shoot myself, to be fair. But in the meantime, they can tear the other characters to shreds for doing literally anything ever, regardless of how bad it is. But let's be serious for a second here. Even though we all know this fandom doesn't understand the concept, they are all terrible people. They all cannibalized multiple people. They all hunted down people in an attempt to kill them. Not a single person was excluded from that bit. We can't call out Misty's unhinged behavior when Shauna Shipman is right there. Shauna fans don't come for me. I love her too, but like, come on. People in this fandom love to put their favorite characters on a pedestal, but another thing they love to put above all else is their ships. Told you we were coming back to that. Run it up! So I think it's pretty safe to say that Jackie, Shauna, and Lottie Nat are kind of dominating the Yellowjackets fandom. And the fans of those two ships take it way too seriously, to the point where they're ignoring canon for the sake of furthering their headcanon. Which is acceptable in some scenarios, don't get me wrong, but it's a little insane to be obsessed with a non-canon sapphic ship when there is a wonderfully developed canon sapphic ship right there. Tyvan is so criminally underrated. It's true. It's true. Their storyline is incredible, but the fandom seems to just hate them for some reason and sweeps them under the rug to focus on Jackie, Shauna, and Lottie Nat. Obviously, because what else are you going to focus on in this show, I guess? And when I say they focus on them, I mean at this point fans of the show have completely lost the plot and will ignore extremely crucial parts of the plot for the sake of their ship, because all they care about in this show is their ship becoming canon. They don't care about the lore. They don't care about the story. They're just like, I want to see these two women fuck. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know I'm right. You know, can I also just point out that Jackie Shaunas are taking all of this so seriously, considering half of their ship is dead? And you know, I can't say that, because if I say that, I'll get them all in my DMs like, oh, we know, we're delusional. Like, yeah, you are delusional, and you're using your delusions to try and make up for the fact that you're just kind of being annoying at this point. And it's not a good look, I'm not gonna lie. Or, you know, I could say any of this and get sent death threats for weeks. Because this fandom loves doing that, especially with minors. Which brings us to our next point in the video, and probably the most unhinged point: people getting mad over nothing. Like I said at the start of this video, these bitches are bored! They're bored. I've seen them get mad over a video of Jackie carrying a bucket of water. I'm talking an hour and a half long heated debate all over my timeline. They'll have debates over whether or not certain characters listen to Taylor Swift. They'll argue over hair colors. Honestly, anything you can think of, they've probably thought about it. Pit Girl especially has become a very common arguing point, and I'm convinced these people have to bring it up at least once a week or else people will literally die. And if you're a Mari fan, you're cooked as Jackie's corpse. You're as cooked as Jackie's corpse. Like, the fandom will actually eat you alive. Just like Jackie's corpse. Speaking of Jackie, I just need to bring up that brief moment in time on Yellowjackets Twitter when people were literally having butch femme discourse between Tyvan and Jackie Shauna. Open the gay schools. I'm done. As I'm making this video, the most recent piece of Yellowjackets discourse has been regarding necrophilia and mother-daughter incest. Neither of these things have happened in the show. I don't think they ever will, but somehow it's been all over my timeline for the past week. And once again, it's all revolving around some adults throwing unnecessary shade at minors. Notice how this shocks absolutely no one? Yeah, it doesn't. And as if the minors in this fandom haven't gotten enough shade, I would like to bring your attention to our next topic. Run it up. Headcanons. They're not allowed. Sorry, they're illegal now, I guess. Post a headcanon and the cops will be at your door in less than 5 seconds ready to take you away. When I first joined this fandom, the first thing I saw was discourse over trans femme Travis. Personally, I have no issue with that, but everyone else on the planet seemed to have a huge issue with that. I've seen some shade thrown towards trans mask Nat headcanons, but not nearly as much as Travis. Not entirely sure what that one's about. Could take a wild guess. I won't, but I could take a wild guess if I wanted to. There was also someone in this fandom that headcanon Misty as asexual, a lesbian, and autistic, which is also fine, but the fandom really didn't like that one and started harassing this person constantly over the span of multiple days. Which is not fine, especially considering that person was, I believe, 14 or 15, and the people that were attacking them were in their 20s. Not to mention, why are we doing this at our grown age to begin with? I mean, like, why are we having arguments on Twitter.com at that old age? Can we lock in? I'm gonna be so honest, I can make an entire separate video on everyone's issues with headcanons. However, I do have to wrap it up here, so I'm just gonna say that, like, unfortunately, all this behavior is typical in fandom spaces. It has been for years. I honestly just wanted to make this video in hopes of maybe shedding light on all of this and people possibly changing their ways. I know that's like a miracle that's not going to happen from a 17-year-old on Twitter.com, but like if it could happen, that would be wonderful. Because at this point, a lot of us don't even want to watch the show or any of the media that we consume that we're in the fandoms for, because these fandoms are becoming so annoying and so uncomfortable to be in. And I also had to make this entire thing for my English finals. So, I mean, shout out to my English teacher for making this insane video happen. Hopefully I don't get doxxed on Twitter because of it. I mean, who knows at this point? Who knows? I'm setting myself up for it. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you either learned or unlearned something from it, and have an awesome day, or evening, or night. I don't know. I don't know where you're at. I don't know where you live. I don't know when you're watching this. Maybe I'll see you in another video, though? We'll see. Okay, bye!